Hey there, this is Jody Clock, and welcome to my podcast. I woke up dead, now what? In our conversations, we'll talk about real issues that everyday people face should they wake up dead without a life after death plan in place. Join me as we explore the how-tos on preparing for you or your loved one's passing without breaking the bank. And let's not forget about those pets too. Now, don't you fall asleep. Today's conversation is going to revolve around our own personal life's soundtrack. I feel it is so important to not let anyone else hit stop. We need to march to our own drum. I'd really like to focus on is why, when you become an adult, and I'm talking about when you're 21, yes, even you, if you did not do this when you were 21, there are at least 8 solid reasons every 21-year-old needs a living will. I mean, let's be honest. Planning for the predictable isn't exactly our favorite pastime. But what if you viewed it as an unexpected departure, as a chance to provide clarity, comfort, and a source of direction for your family, rather than panic or disarray? I mean, it's ironic. Vitally important documents for protecting young adults are often an afterthought, and I just don't get that. And people don't even consider doing this until they reach their retirement years. In fact, they needed to do this when they reached adulthood. It should be Adulting 101, Step 1. Please join me in a call to action in helping young adults, especially young parents, in understanding why planning for the unforeseen should become normal. Like anything else, if you don't know, you don't do. But it all starts with education. When parents, schools, churches start talking about any kind of planning in general, some buzz happens. All of a sudden there's conversations, there's dialogue. And what was once a heavy topic is no longer intimidating. When the areas of discussion become specific, referrals, recommendations, tools, and you name it, it can be provided, even a roadmap on how to get from A to Z. So for purposes of this conversation, I want to share my perspective for the very first planning document everyone should have and why. All right, I said the word living will. Living wills are also called medical power of attorneys. There's all kinds of things that they call those two people. They're mutually exclusive and one and the same. So I really think you ought to just forget about retirement age. The crucial document is the living will. So don't wait till you're older. Many times people refer to this, like I said, as the power of attorney. And here's the other one. It's called a patient advocate. Please don't let any of this confuse you. It is all the same. It has the same purpose, probably the same language. But having a living will is not about dwelling on death. It's about ensuring your voice is heard, your soundtrack, your wishes are respected, even when the future takes an unexpected turn. Living wills, patient advocates, medical power of attorney, whatever you want to call that. These are dynamic documents and should be updated as your life situation changes. When you get married, when you have children, when children go off to school, when you get a divorce, you name it. So here are 8 key benefits, regardless of your age, for having a living will. The first one is pretty straightforward. It ensures your wishes are respected. Again, it's your soundtrack. This is the primary benefit, and in case you're unable to speak for yourself, it talks about your medical preferences, if illness happens, injury, just anything where you are unable to speak for yourself. It provides clear instructions for doctors, family members, about the treatment you want, not the treatment they want. It eliminates confusion and uncertainty. More importantly, it ensures your loved ones they don't have to make an agonizing decision on your behalf. Number 2, it provides clarity and avoids misinterpretations. You know how things get lost in translation, don't you? A living will is a documented expression of your wishes. That soundtrack again. Therefore, reducing the risk of misinterpretations or disagreements between family members or medical professionals. You know, I would go as far as to say it avoids family feuds. Number 3, well, it covers more than just a medical decision. Beyond life-sustaining treatments, living wills can include decisions that other people may not be able to answer about organ donation, funeral arrangements, and other end-of-life wishes. It just takes all of the holistic picture of your desires and it compartmentalizes it for people. The fourth reason it empowers young adults. A living will is a crucial document for young adults. Accidents and serious illnesses happen when people are young, not when they're older. It just protects you. And it is your soundtrack. Your voice is heard. Number 5, they are easy to create. Creating a living will is typically straightforward. Many online resources and legal templates are available. And many health care providers or lawyers have them, and they do offer guidance on how to complete them. There's one out there called the 5 Wishes, and those are typically free, and they are all-inclusive. I don't know how many of you remember Karen Quinlan, but there was no living will, and she was young, and it got ugly. Had she had a living will, all of her story, being brain dead and being in the hospital for months and months, even years, wouldn't have happened. Number 6, it's dynamic and adaptable. Again, it isn't permanent. I suppose you could rip it up if you wanted to. Again, you update it. Every time your life circumstances change, you go back and you reflect it on your current values. Number 7, it reduces stress and burden on loved ones. People always say, oh, my parents or my wife or my sister knows what to do. But when they're faced with a loved one's serious illness or, something that is so tragic, they want to keep you alive. But knowing that it's okay to let you go, knowing that your wishes, if you cannot have any quality of life, this will alleviate some of that burden and allow them to focus on emotional support for each other and doing the right thing for you. And finally, number 8. Sounds corny. It's that line again. Gives you peace of mind. But it does. Knowing your future medical care is controlled and dictated by your own choices, not by chance. It should give you an immensely comforting feeling. Having a living will allows you to take control and exercise autonomy, even in uncertain circumstances. Can't speak for you, but I can speak for me. I couldn't wait to turn 18, and better yet, couldn't wait to turn 21, because I could make my own decisions, and I was a force to be reckoned with. My thoughts, my choices, they were not my parents. I made decisions, and I made sure people knew what they were and where they were at. And I was a young parent, and I made sure there were documents in place just in case something happened to me. I knew my son would be taken care of. I want you to look at it this way. A living will just isn't paper and ink. It's a conversation starter. As a young adult, you can discuss with your parents, your sister, your brother. You get things going. Think about this. You're sitting across from your parents, and all of a sudden you start talking about the unspoken. Well, quickly, and I mean really quickly, you're going to find out if your parents or whomever you're talking to have plans in place. And if things get real quiet, that pretty much gives you their answer. But if they haven't, you might have just done them a favor. And better yet, you may have given them the encouragement they need to do so. So as mentioned earlier, living wills, they don't have to be expensive. Many people don't go to an attorney. They do it online. But they also have the fear that it's expensive regardless. And it's not. And I'm here to show you where your options are. And if you jump over to my website, jodyclock.com, I will have these downloadable templates. So here you go. You got do-it-yourself templates. There are numerous trustworthy websites out there and organizations that offer free living will templates. But these are the ones that I found that are the most reputable one and the best sources. The National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization, the American Bar Association, and then, of course, your state's health department's website. Again, I'm going to have the links and the how-tos and the why on my website. The second one is a nonprofit assistance. There are many nonprofit organizations that offer living wills, and then they also offer classes or support and guidance, all for no charge. So look into resources like the Legal Aid Society, Aging Life Care Association, maybe even your area on aging agency. Finally, when all else fails and you are not comfortable doing this, consult a lawyer. While attorneys aren't always necessary, if you're not comfortable, they will know how to do this. They will give you proper guidance, especially if a situation is complex, or some people like to say it's complicated. They can get her done, as they say, and they're not going to be overly expensive, so it's not going to break the bank. So in closing, if you really want to be adult, Start adulting when you're 21. Be responsible. And I want to thank you for joining me today and not waking up dead. Again, consider jumping over to my website, jodiclock.com. That's Jody with an I. Jump over to the blog, and there'll be some links for the downloadable DIY templates we discussed. Bye. Hey, if you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to thank you, and I am so glad you didn't wake up dead today. Please jump over to jodiclock.com and download your free copy of my family care plan. This guide will help those you leave behind should you wake up dead. I promise. Be sure to order my book, It's Complicated, based on a true story. Send me an email about topics you'd like to hear in future episodes. Until next time, thank you for not falling asleep.